The man gracing the cover of the March-April issue of Success magazine is celebrating his 30th anniversary as chairman and CEO of one of the nation's top real estate firms. My guess is that his success in business has resulted from the same leadership and work ethic attributes this Hall of Fame quarterback exhibited when he was an All-American at Navy and an All-Pro with the Dallas Cowboys. I welcome Captain Comeback, Roger the Dodger, Roger Staubach. What a remarkable career that you have had in two fields, football, and I should say three, the military, football, and now real estate.
Well, I'm still working in real estate. Our company is celebrating our 30th year, but it's still fun for me. I'm still real active in our business, and it's fun. It's fun growing a business. It's kind of an ongoing process. As an athlete, it was you have your season, and you could relate to the season and enjoy it. You still had another season, but business, you can't even, you just got to keep working at it.
It's a 12-month out of the year deal. You talk about perpetuating your football life. I mean, you still play flag football, right?
Well, you know, I do. I'm still able to still move around at my age, and my arm is actually in pretty good shape for
Yeah, I mean, one of your prized possessions is your flag football trophy in your office.
Right. We actually won this just 2 years ago. I play a couple times a year in flag football, and we do some client events with our company at Soldiers Field or somewhere. But I beat Doug Flutie's team. We won, I think it was 35-34 in a flag football game. It was the Jacksonville Super Bowl. So I've got that trophy in my office. It's the only athletic trophy I've got in my office in Dallas.
Which almost speaks, Roger, of who you are and the unassuming way that you have conducted your life. And I think the one question that I wanted to ask you initially, and I will, is how does an unassuming man like you from Cincinnati, a very humble background, your mom and dad, your mother worked with General Motors, your father was a manufacturer's rep selling leather, I believe. You're an unassuming man and yet assuming the leadership roles of a quarterback. Have you ever thought about how those two things?
Well, yeah, there's parts of your life. I was an only child. My parents were great. They worked real hard, and I actually shared a room with my grandmother, who till I was 14. So we grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I got into sports, and I was kind of quiet, but on the field, I was, I played. I had a competitive streak into me. It was healthy. I mean, I'm not a sore loser. I don't like to lose. It's painful, but you learn from it. And life is, you have losses in life, and because you run into some of the kids you grew up with, or you can become a sore loser. And but I was very competitive. There's a fine line between a competitor and understanding defeat. And so I really kind of would be looked at from the other players, and that's what changed my life, because my high school football coach switched me to quarterback, and I was a receiver, defensive back, and I asked him, I said, Coach, I don't want to play quarterback. And he said, well, I want you to play quarterback. And I said, why? And he said, because the other players listen to you. And I liked being in charge of the team, and I liked what a quarterback did, and so on the field I was very driven, and off the field I'm driven in a different way, but I'm still, want to work hard and do the right thing, and business is similar to athletics as far as teamwork, hard work, perseverance. And
Chuck Tanner, a manager with the Pittsburgh Pirates, used to say the best thing about being a manager of a big league team or a player on a major league team is winning. He said the second best thing is losing. And that's always stuck with me, and I've always known how you accepted loss.
Well, I think that's real important, that that you feel the pain when you lose, and it's healthy to have that pain, but you gotta get over it, and you've got to move on. And I missed a couple free throws. Well, actually the 1-and-1 in a basketball game when I was in high school, and the first one would have tied the game, and I could have won the game, and I missed it, and the game was over. Really, I was right at the end of the game. It was. And so I ran down to the locker room, didn't take a shower, went home, sat in my room, and my parents didn't know where I went. I was just miserable. But it was kind of an important time in my life, because I still wanted to be in that moment again. I wanted to have that chance again. Sometimes people don't want that pressure. And so it taught me something that isn't always going to work the way you'd like, but as long as you have an opportunity to take advantage of it. And I've always have enjoyed trying to have the pressure, and then I've always felt the pain of losing, and it's something you get over. And at the professional level, though, I hated to lose. When we lost to the Steelers in the Super Bowl, it was 35-31, and they were a great team.
One of the great games that I've ever seen.
Bradshaw comes over and gives me a hug. I mean, I didn't want to even see that guy. I said, "Get out of here." He's over there. Well, yeah, he's hugging me because he beat me. I might have gone to hug him if we would have won. So I was real competitive and didn't like to lose, but understood it was going to happen. I was fortunate to be with the Dallas Cowboys, and it didn't happen a lot, but it happened.
I've got to believe that Tom Landry was very instrumental in a lot of that too, and we're going to talk about Tom and some of those great Dallas Cowboys when Roger Staubach returns. We'll be right back. I'm here with Roger Staubach, who led the Dallas Cowboys to 4 Super Bowls and 2 NFL titles. And at the break, we talked about Tom Landry and what an influence he had, not only on you, but the Dallas Cowboys as a whole.
Well, he had 29 years. I think 21 of them were winning seasons, and like 20 in a row. And we were in like 19 playoffs in those years. So he was a great football coach. He was an industrial engineer. He had goals that were outstanding, reasonable, believable, achievable. They're measured. So he really had us prepared, and that's why there was a consistent winning period. And the thing that really deviated, it was a break for me, because he knew I was committed to winning and I was going to work at it. But he didn't like me running. I mean, it was really a problem. In fact, at the end of my career, we're still watching film. He said, I still ran quite a bit. And he said, "Well, you're going to learn, Roger." And after the film, I said, "Hey, Coach, I'm not going to be playing much longer." You've been saying it to me every year. So he really put up with the way that I played, because that wasn't in his. It was drop back, throw the football, read the defense, and that's what you're supposed to do. And so he adapted to us as players more each year, and. But he was just he was a great person, first of all, and a great football coach. But it really, I wasn't his picture quarterback when I
was Craig Morton?
Craig was an ideal quarterback, and Craig was a heck of a quarterback. Craig had some injuries, and I got a chance to play. And
well, this is a style that you really formulated at the Naval Academy.
Well, I did run quite a bit. I wish I had the speed of Steve Young or Michael Vick, but I had decent speed, quickness, but I did run quite a bit, and it comes in handy, especially in today's game, because if you're running around, they can't hit the receivers downfield, and so therefore, guys are going to be open. And when I was playing, they were still hitting the receivers, so it was an advantage. Especially, I ran a lot to try to get the first down instead of just scrambling, and. But it became I knew the defense hated it too. And they'd say before the game, "We hope he runs, we're going to get him," I got hurt more in the pocket than I did running.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How can you explain that?
Well, I just think I knew how to run, and of course now I'm trying to run over Marlon McCarver and separate my right shoulder. So it wasn't always, that was running. But it was just that I had a good sense for running, and I really felt it was an advantage if it was used properly, and so I actually enjoyed running the football. You
have said, you talked about Jack Youngblood in the last segment. You have said that he was the toughest defensive lineman that you faced. Why was that?
Well, he's just a great player. He's quick, fast, tough, mean. He's a nice guy off the field, but and that we played each other quite a bit. So he was. They had a great team. They had Merlin, and they had Fred Wright, Deacon Jones. They really had some good. So when we played them. Now the Steelers were probably the best defensive team I ever played against. They were really good. They had Jack Lambert he was kind of the glue that really put that team defensively together, and Bradshaw was a heck of a quarterback, and so they had it going for them in the 70s. We were the only NFC team in the 70s that won a Super Bowl. It was Oakland, Pittsburgh, and Miami, and Pittsburgh was really good. So Lambert was a heck of a player too, and he didn't have any teeth. He'd look over at you and spit on you, and he was the kind of guy that you want on your team. You didn't like teeth. You didn't like him on the other team. I'll tell you that.
Well, we talked about the 70s, and Roger has talked about the 70s. He was something in the 60s at the Naval Academy, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we return. I'm back with Roger Staubach, who was the 1963 Heisman Trophy winner while quarterbacking the Navy midshipmen, and more than 40 schools tried to recruit you. Why did you choose the Naval Academy?
Well, a coach named Rick Frisano came to my high school to recruit our center, and he was watching film, and he said, "Hey, can I talk to the quarterback?" And so he got me down in the room with our center, Jerry Mopper, who we were the co-captains of our team, and Jerry was interested in the Navy, and I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so Rick just, you know, he was great, and he promised me a battleship when I graduated. And it wasn't a car. Rick has got a great sense of humor. He was a coach of the Detroit Lions, and he and I were great friends. And but he recruited me. I didn't know him, and he started recruiting me. So I went up to visit the Naval Academy. I just liked it. I liked the atmosphere. I liked. I wanted to play college baseball, and they said I could play baseball also. And so I was, you know, I still love sports, and so I was recruited, and I liked the school, and it just felt good. There was something that told me I want to go there.
Let's see, number 12. Were you number 12 in high school? Were you number 12 throughout?
I was number 12. My first year was when I was moved to quarterback. Before that, I was number 37. I was number 12 my senior in high school, the first time.
And then
at Navy. And when I joined the Cowboys, our punter, Ron Woodby, was at number 12, and he read in the paper that I always wore number 12, and he just said, "Hey, Roger, if you want to wear number 12, you can have it."
Well, the Cowboys
didn't have to pay him or anything.
The Cowboys drafted you in 1964, knowing that they were going to have to wait 4 years.
Correct.
For you, right?
They drafted me. I spent a year. There's about 20 of us that go into the military academies, Air Force, Army, and Navy, that went to Roswell, New Mexico, and it was a great year for me. It was my second year as a quarterback, really, and so I was eligible for the draft in '64 when I was a junior at Navy. So I really had 5 years, my senior year, and then 4 more years in the service, and so I was drafted as a future in '63.
And you went to Vietnam?
I was in the service for a year, and then went to Vietnam for a year, and then spent
at Da Nang and Chu Lai, right?
Da Nang, Chu Lai. I was a logistics officer, supply officer, and supporting the Marines. Marines were the tough guys in the northern sector of I Corps of South Vietnam. We were in that I Corps area, and so I was in a support role. I wasn't getting shot at, but I was supporting all the Marines, God love them, that were fighting the fight in Vietnam. And so I was in Da Nang and Chu Lai for a year, and then I went to the Pensacola Naval Air Station and finished 2 years there.
We talked about your leadership values. I mean, by the time you reached the Cowboys, you were 28 years old and pretty much had honed your leadership skills.
Well, I was just turning 28, and I was, you know, the guys that were on the team, I was in the college all-star game with a lot of them, Bob Hayes and Ralph Neely, and so they kind of treated me like like a veteran, but I was a rookie, and Craig Morton was there. Don Meredith just retired. Don Meredith really was phenomenal. He was a great football player. He built Dallas to a winning team and took the punishment, played with punctured lungs, and he took an expansion team to really a great football team. And then he retired in '69, and so then Craig and I battled back and forth, and I got a chance to start in '71, and I played 11 years, but I got a chance to start in '71, and that was the beginning of a lot of fun for me.
The one thing that you and the Dallas Cowboys proved wrong were the writers who were writing about how you couldn't win the big one and all that. There is nothing more grating on somebody who's played the game than to read that they can't win the big one. I mean, it's maddening.
Well, it is, and in that '71 season, when I was actually in the service, I got back, and one of the first in that fall was when the Cowboys had the Ice Bowl against Green Bay, and
right.
Then we lost to Green Bay again, then a couple times to Cleveland, and so we were on a good football team, but hadn't got there, and so '71 was what really got turned around, and it was winning that Super Bowl was a tremendous relief for Coach Landry. In fact, after the game, Walt Garrison had him on his on his shoulders, and a lot of guys were taking him off the field. and he had a big smile on his face. But they used to ask Walt, said, "Do you ever see Tom Landry smile?" And he said, "No, I was only there 9 years though." But that picture though, Walt is wrong, because that picture, Coach Landry, you could tell the weight of the world was taken off his shoulders by winning that Super Bowl. We went from a winning team, similar to what Indianapolis did this year. I mean, Indianapolis is a heck of a football team, and you know, they still want you to win it all, and
Sure.
the Super Bowl has become that goal you have as a football player.
Right. I'll be back with more from Roger Staubach right after this.
I really cherish this moment, and you're all part of it. Everyone that's in this stadium today is part of the feeling that I have right now, that it's fantastic, it's a good deal, and I thank you very much, and I thank the people that voted for me, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, and I tell you, it wouldn't be as much fun as it is now, and I love every daggone second of it. Thank you.
Inducted into the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, my guest Roger Staubach, who retired as the highest-rated passer in NFL history. I didn't realize that.
Well, the rating system changes through the years, but with the rule changes, it's different today than it was when we were playing. But they told me that when I retired.
Tom Landry introduced you in your Hall of Fame speech. You introduced Tom Landry too.
Yeah, it was a big thrill for me. And of course, as I mentioned at the Hall of Fame, it kind of was your whole career. I mean, football is a team game, and you're fortunate to play for the Cowboys or the players, our '63 Navy football team. Our captain of our team, Tom Lynch, was there, and Skip Orr played with, and a lot of in my Cowboy teammates. I had players I played with in grade school that came to the Hall of Fame. So it really was it was overwhelming for me. But it summarized an important part of my life, which was my football life, and I shared it with teammates from when I began in grade school through Purcell High School to the Dallas Cowboys.
Roger, you and I both know the horror stories of athletes after their playing careers are over. They don't know where to put their competitiveness. They don't know where to put their intelligence. They don't realize that life is really just beginning when you're through your own sport. But nobody has made as seamless a transition from the competitiveness of the field to put that competitiveness into play in the business world as well as you have.
Well, I think I was a bit fortunate. My wife and I, Marianne, we've been married 41 years, and we had 3 kids born in the Navy, so I was a rookie with 3 children, and then we added 2 more, and so I wanted to get some experience off the field in case I got hurt playing football, and so I had a long-term goal, not just a short-term goal. If I was single with, we had a free life, I might have thought differently. But I worked for a real estate firm, and my mentor was Henry S. Miller in Dallas, and so I stayed with real estate, and I started our company about 30 years ago. But I was motivated because I was an older rookie with children, and today athletes need to think where they're going to be in 10, 15, 20 years. It's hard to do that when you're young. You worry about next year, but I had more people to worry about, so that's how I got involved in real estate.
Well, you have more people to worry about right now too. You have 1,400 employees, right?
Well, we have 1,400 people in the Staubach company, and then we have we have 5 kids and 11 grandkids and 1 on the way. So I have a lot to worry about. I got a great wife. She helps me worry also.
We are wrapping things up with the great Roger Staubach, who's one of your favorite sayings is, "There are no traffic jams on the extra mile." And that reminds me about, you mentioned Troy Aikman earlier. You and Troy are your venture in NASCAR, huh? How's that going?
Well, we're hanging in there. We had a decent year for the first year. Our car 96. Terry Labonte drove 7 races, and Tony Raines. So we ended up in the qualified. We're into the new season, and Tony Raines is our driver this year. And
very quickly, how does that? So you can appreciate NASCAR and everything. I mean, how does that work? You want to go with someone to form a NASCAR team. How does that work?
Well, it's different in the NFL. You have to get a franchise, and in NASCAR, if you can qualify for the race and you get it, it's expensive. So we have a sponsor. We have 5 of us that own this team. So our goal was to be in the Nextel Cup races, and so then we have to qualify, and and if you're in the top 35, you're qualified for the next race. And so last year we finished, we qualified for every race. We finished 26th overall. There's 43 cars on the track. So you're talking about there's a traffic jam on the extra mile there. And so it's a very, very competitive, difficult, hard. I mean, it drives me crazy to celebrate. If we come in 17th, we celebrate. And my wife said, we came in third. Our best race was third last year. Terry drove that race, an open course race. And so it's challenging, and it's a great sport, though. The people have been great to us. They're football, a lot of military. They're honored at every race. NASCAR really does a great job with the military, and they like us. They like Troy and I. And Tony Raines has been a good driver for us. So we're not winning, but we're competitive, and I enjoy it, and it's just, you know, it's part of. And we have a great sponsor, DLP, the chip that you put in your HD TVs is our sponsor, and they're owned by TI, so we have a good sponsor, and we're trying to get better every week.
Well, one of the rare things in life is to find you or Troy Aikman in 17th place. You're a winner, my friend. Thank you very much for being with me.
Tim, it's my pleasure. Thanks.
I've enjoyed it very much. Roger Staubach's been my guest. I'm Tim McCarver. Thanks for watching.